All right, ladies and gentlemen. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Ghost of Antifa again. Now, we are going to be talking about the actual sales regarding Ghost of Antifa, but this time, this is information that is coming from yet another trust me, bro situation where it's coming out from the UK. Apparently, they're trying to tell us about certain sales in the UK, but it's actually not positive information, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually bad information. This information makes it look very bad for Ghost of Antifa. Now, if you guys haven't been aware of what's going on with Ghost of Antifa, let me remind you, there is currently, and I made this post on X, there is currently an insane article that is going around right now since day one of the game's release that is trying to claim that Ghost of Antifa has reportedly sold over 1 million copies, selling faster than Ghost of Tsushima. Now, everybody called this. We already knew this was going to happen. People could see this from a mile away, that the PR storm was going to come full force for Ghost of Antifa because they need this game to be more successful than Tsushima. But we all know that's not going to be the case, right? They're even trying to convince people that Ghost of Antifa is more loved than Ghost of Tsushima. They're doing everything they possibly can to convince people this is the case. And the source of all this information, well, it's a random tweet from somebody called Millier over on X, swearing that the game passed 1.3 million sold, just barely passed the 1.25 million from Tsushima, because of course it did, right? And keep in mind, guys, by the way, there is still no official post from Sucker Punch. There is no official post from Sony, PlayStation, nobody. There is no official post at all. And it's in my theory that they're not going to be able to make a post until they hit at least 2 million, because whoever did this stole the thunder from them, in my opinion. But anyway, let's move on and talk about Ghost of Antifa. So we have another post talking about physical sales, right? And reportedly, the physical sales for Ghost of Antifa is 40% less than Ghost of Tsushima in the UK physical charts, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is physical only, and I'm sure they're going to come up with a bunch of excuses right now for why this game is doing 40% less than compared to its previous video game, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, they did the same exact thing for Veilguard. Dragon Age the Veilguard did way less than its previous iteration, and they tried to gaslight you and say, well, XYZ numbers don't matter. Steam numbers, they don't matter. Physical numbers, they don't matter. All that matters is the digital sales on console that nobody has access to. That's the only thing that matters. It's a stupid fucking argument that they constantly try to peddle, but here we are anyway. So let's read this article from the VGC talking about Ghost of Antifa. So, the latest installment in EA's perennially best-selling football game was released on September 26 and shot to the top of the UK physical charts on its first week of release, to the surprise of nobody. Not everyone would have expected its reign at the top to last just 1 week, however, yet that's what has happened. According to the game's business editor, Christopher Dring, this week's chart sees EA Sim dropping down and PS5 exclusive Ghost of Antifa taking the top spot. Now, guys, you know, I can't believe we live in a world where now we have to go with the country that has some of the lowest physical sales ever, and we're trying to utilize that as a means to gauge a win for Ghost of Antifa. I really don't understand why we are even doing this, to be honest with you. But I guess when we don't have access to anything, we don't have access to any numbers really. I'm just waiting for the Japanese physical sales. That's what I'm waiting for, because in Japan, Ghost of Tsushima set records, right? Over 200,000 copies sold within the first week. I guarantee you, Ghost of Antifa is probably not even close to that. Not even anywhere close to that number. So I'll be very curious to see what it did in Japan and see if they could find a way to mess with those numbers and present it in a more positive light. But you know, this is where we are here. The UK box launch for Ghost of Antifa is really, really good. Dring posted on X, it is number 1, which means it beat the second week of EA Sports FC 26 and sold almost 3 times what Mario Galaxy 1+2 on Switch did. Are you seriously? Oh my God, bro. Are you seriously trying to showcase the sequel to a previously hot like game like Ghost of Tsushima? You are trying to compare Ghost of Antifa to Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, which is a resale on Switch. Are you serious? In the UK of all places too? This is the level of desperation that we are at right now, where you got to compare it to like literally anything that you possibly can, even if it doesn't make sense. When one follower asked Dring how Antifa's physical UK sales compared to those of its predecessor, Ghost of Tsushima, he replied, "It's down 40%, but I still find it impressive." What? Bro, Oh my god, I can't imagine what it must be like to be a shill, because you have to lie through your face even if you obviously don't believe this, right? There is no way that you could sit here and call 40% less physical sales compared to this predecessor as anything other than a flop. If you're using the word impressive at almost a 50% loss in physical sales, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Like, it's very clear. It's very clear that there is some other force happening here that is making you say this, because it's not the truth, right? There's no way that you find 40% less sales impressive. But anyway, I guess this is where we're at. So although a drop of 40% may seem drastic, here comes the excuses, by the way. You guys ready for this? We love it. We love it. We love it. They're still blaming COVID-19, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. It says it's partly explained why by various circumstances. When Ghost of Tsushima was released in July of 2020, it did so during the midst of COVID-19, which saw a general boost in the number of video game sales. Wow, we have come full circle. Well, we are now talking about the Koof again. This is great. Tsushima also released on PS4 near the end of its life as Sony's main console, with the PS5 set to release just 4 months later. As such, the player base was much higher than that of the PS5 as it currently stands. Oh my God, bro. Are you serious? Does anybody not remember that PlayStation tried to convince everybody that the PS5 sold pretty much almost as much as the PS4? At least that's what they tried to convince everybody. And apparently now, when Ghost of Antifa is out, apparently that's not the case, I suppose. Well, okay. I guess that could account for 40% less physical if you really want to believe that. Finally, the ratio of physical to digital sales has continued to shift in the 5 years since Tsushima's release, with more players continuing to transition to digital purchases, something the UK physical charts naturally doesn't include in its numbers. Excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, at this point, are we serious? I guess we are serious. They have to be serious if they're continuing to use this nonsense. And keep in mind, guys, digital was already big when Tsushima came out, and digital has only gone up a couple of percent compared to when Tsushima came out. So you guys are trying to make that seem as if that makes up 40%. A single digit increase in digital sales is going to somehow make a 40% drop in physical a thing. No, if people want to collect the game, they will. If that many people bought the game physically, then they will do it again with Ghost of Antifa if they really wanted to. You guys are making all the excuses in the book. I really can't believe that this is even a thing. But in any case, the VGC Ghost of Antifa review gives the game 5 stars. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I had to laugh. You guys, if you guys are unaware, the VGC scores games 5 out of 5, right? So if it's 5 stars, that means it's a perfect game. So, of course, the VGC scores Ghost of Antifa a perfect game. And they say that the game delivers on the promise of Tsushima with a touching samurai epic. Ghost of Yotei, Ghost of Antifa fulfills much of the promise of Ghost of Tsushima, delivering a hugely enjoyable open world. That's because it's the same game, bro. It's the same game with a couple of mini games and a female lead character. Congratulations. Wow. Oh, and you could cut grass now. That's awesome. Hugely enjoyable open world game that almost rids itself of Tsushima's bloat. How does it rid itself of Tsushima's bloat when it added more mini games and more bloat to the game? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you? Anyway, pacing issues and some underdeveloped villains aside, Antifa improves on the original game in every department and delivers best-in-class visuals and music. Best-in-class, by the way. But guys, if you think Tsushima delivers best-in-class visuals, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I really don't. Looking at the screenshots of Ghost of Antifa, it's pretty clear that it looks almost identical to Tsushima, with the only difference being slightly improved in resolution, maybe, if you're lucky. Aside from, honestly, there's some screenshots from Tsushima that look better than Ghost of Antifa. So I don't know what this person is talking about, but sure, sound off, King, I suppose. So in any case, this is not looking good, right? This is not looking good. If the UK is down 40%, and keep in mind the UK, a lot of the people, at least that's what their government will want you to believe. A lot of the people there would love this shit, right? Strong female character taking over for what was once a male-led video game. They should be eating this up. They should be buying it up at its maximum. But they're combining it with every other excuse they possibly can to combat whatever people say about the game, right? So if they say, wow, you're down 40%, is that good? Well, digital sales and, stuff. They come up with every excuse they possibly can. So I can't wait to see what the Japanese numbers are going to be. I'm very curious what Famitsu is going to report. It should only be a few more days to maybe a week before we get those numbers. And when we do, we will absolutely be talking about it to the behest of the people who don't want us to talk about it. So you guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about the 40% drop from Ghost of Antifa compared to Ghost of Tsushima? Do you think this is a good sign? Do you think that this is just clearly digital sales making up the 40%? Or do you think this game is absolutely being felted compared to his previous predecessor? You guys let me know whatever it is in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, consider hitting that like and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one.